Hi. My book, We Are Left Without a Father Here, is built around the story of 5,000 Puerto Rican agricultural workers who were airlifted in the summer of 1950 into rural Michigan to harvest sugar beets. And the protests that they organized once they encountered horrific working conditions there, and a whole series of other echoes and reverberations that ultimately came to pass because of their protests and their experiences there. Ultimately, the book, it's about this particular summer of 1950, but it's ultimately using that moment to look into and to illuminate a whole series of other much bigger historical processes. I wanted to show how gender permeated historical processes, both on the island of Puerto Rico and in its citizens' migration into the United States. Puerto Ricans' insistence on respectable, empowered fatherhood and their desire for a modern domesticity really saturated Puerto Rican politics through the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, Puerto Ricans' understanding of their relationship with U.S. colonialism, and their decisions to emigrate from the island. And I try to explore all of that in the book. I also wanted to show how histories of seemingly completely disconnected places, rural Michigan and the island of Puerto Rico down in the Caribbean, are often historically linked in ways that we never think about until we delve into the archival and personal accountings of the past. So I'm trying to show in this book that we really need to broaden our lens beyond national and other geographically restricted territories to include actually histories of people's physical movement and the meanings that they give to that movement. Also, part of the story of this book is about Puerto Ricans, not only Puerto Ricans' hopes for a modern life in the United States and their dashed hopes once they arrive in the beet fields of Michigan, but also they're encountering Mexican Americans there in the sugar beet fields who also were migrants from South Texas. So the book also explores the crossings of these two great now considered Latino groups, Mexican Americans and Puerto Ricans, and how they encounter each other in rural Michigan, how they quickly allied with each other, and how ultimately in Michigan, the ways that non-Latino people represented them and wrote about them and formed politics around them separated them and really silenced the experience of Mexican Americans and held up the experience of Puerto Ricans as a more worthy Latin American migrant population. Lastly, in this book, I really wanted to think about storytelling. I found this incredible story enmeshed in the documents of the archive, but it was a story that had been completely silenced in people's remembering of Puerto Rico's past. So I wanted to think about, why do some stories end up silenced or forgotten? Often because they encapsulate and they uncover really shameful, painful, anguished experiences. I wanted to also think about how people shape the stories that they do tell, both about hope, which was part of this whole drama, and also about disillusionment, which was a huge part of it. And finally, I wanted to think about how historians themselves, all of us who write books about the past, how we shape the stories that we tell about the past. And I wanted to really push historians themselves to think more consciously about the stories that we tell and how we do it. So I hope you read the book, and I hope you'll enjoy it.